Hey, Wrong World Entertainment, and an interesting story is being said about a possible Knightfall animated trilogy that it may be in the works. And why it's interesting is because we know James Gunn has spoken that the animated stuff for the people who voice the animated characters, he wants those people to play the live action versions, and vice versa. If you're playing the live action and they want that character in animated form, you voice that. Hence why Frank Grillo is playing Rick Flag Sr. in Creature Commandos. He's voicing him in Creature Commandos, but he's also playing him in live action in Superman. So the question then would be, well, where exactly would this fit in and how would it work? Because if it's the case of they want to do it and it's not Elseworld or anything like that, or just something completely separate from the main DCU, well, that would mean whoever they would get, if it actually happens, to voice Batman, well, then that would be the person they want to play in live action. So this is interesting. Now, there's nothing concrete about this, and the ideas that they're talking about seem to be more like episodes, 3 episodes, than actual movies. And it's nothing to do with going on the big screen. It seems to be one of the standard DC animated direct-to-video type thing. So we'll dive into it anyway, because it's interesting to see what the story would be, because Knightfall is one of the most popular Batman comics that there was. Just before we do, of course, yes, you know what's about to happen. If you don't mind, smash the sub button, smash the like button, all the buttons, all that good stuff. Let's get to 2,000 subs. Let's see if we can do it before Christmas. That'd be cool. But for everyone who has already hit it, thanks very much. For those of you who will hit it in the future, thanks very much. And now, let's dive into this story about this possible Batman Knightfall animated trilogy. So it says, with DC Studios setting out to create a single shared DCU with a handful of Elseworlds projects like The Batman, it's unclear what that means for Warner Bros. Animation's direct-to-DVD DC offerings. 2024 has seen the release of Justice League, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and Watchmen, though July's San Diego's Comic-Con didn't bring the usual annual announcements about what's next. As a result, most fans expect these movies to be quietly scrapped. Now though, it appears there either are or were plans for an animated trilogy based on Batman Knightfall. Based on recent filings on the Entertainment Identifier Registry system, which provides a unique identifier for audiovisual content across the global entertainment industry, DC Animated Universe veteran Jeff Waymaster, I think is how you say it, or Waymaster, who helmed the Crisis on Infinite Earths trilogy, will helm this adaptation of the iconic storyline. He's been a huge part of the Tomorrowverse, which essentially ended with Crisis, so it's unclear how this would fit into the reboot that trilogy concluded with. The Entertainment Identifier Registry lists this movie as Batman Knightfall Part 1 and has what appears to be a placeholder runtime of 1 hour. The listed release date is 2024, though we'd imagine that's another temporary addition to this filing. The comic book version of this story was broken into 3 parts: Knightfall, Night Quest, and Night's End. So, and they just kind of go on then a bit about they're not sure how profitable these things are, the direct-to-DVD animated things. If they were to do a Knightfall animated series, well, not series, but these 3 parts, whether it's like an hour long or an actual full-length film but animated, you would hope that they would stick perfectly to the source material, because that is one of the arguments when it comes to the comic book version compared to the animated story version, is people say the animated version, they tend to leave out a lot from the comic books, which in some cases makes sense when you think like one particular arc could be across multiple comics and you're trying to get that down into one single film, which I think is why the option of them saying this could be a trilogy would make sense, because it gives you more time to flush out that story. And of course, people wondering, Knightfall, that is the series where Bane broke Batman's back. That is what came to, I believe Azrael showed up as well in Knightfall, or at least the Knightfall trilogy. But again, if you have to stick to the source material, and that was one of the arguments with The Killing Joke. A lot of people said The Killing Joke animated movie, they didn't like it because it left out so much of the main critical stuff from the comic. They kind of just picked the kind of bigger moments and stuck them in, but it meant you were losing a lot of the arc and story as to why this happens and how you get to this point and stuff like that. I don't think you could do that, or even risk doing that, with a Knightfall animated movie. Again, which is probably why they're saying trilogy. As long as they stick to that source material, if, again, this is actually happening. It may not. I think it could work, and it could work quite well. But now the question does become, what is this? Does it become an Elseworld project? Is the animated stuff completely separate to anything else, DCU or Elseworlds? Because that's one thing James Gunn has not been clear on, is what happens with these animated movies and stuff like that. You know, as I said, he's spoken about, oh, if you voice an animated character, we want you to be that person in live action, and vice versa. But he's never specifically spoken about the animation. Like, are you sticking with the animation that they've been doing, I've done before, where it is this direct video stuff? Or does he want to move that into the DCU? Does he want it to be an Elseworld? Because again, if they make this trilogy and it is part of the DCU, well, that means whoever voices Batman in this and the other characters would be the people who would have to play Batman in live action. Which means if they were to place this in the DCU before Batman Brave and the Bold, well, whoever voices Batman in Knightfall would be the person who we would get as Batman in Brave and the Bold. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if Gunn comes out and clarifies anything about this. As it says, this came up on this entertainment identifier registry system. That's where they found out about this. So I don't know whether this is the type of thing that James Gunn will come out and address and say, yes, it is happening. No, it isn't happening. And if he does come out and say, if it is happening, will he clarify? Is it going to be an Elseworlds thing? Is it going to be a part of the DCU? Or will he actually shed more and better light and understanding of what their plan is for the animation section of DC going forward? Let's wait and see what happens. So, with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.